Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we get to come together and we can share knowledge, share our grace, share your hope, your grace, actually. Father, I pray that you would give us ears to hear and eyes to see, and that we could touch a life. We've been reached out to by some fellows who have heard the podcast. May we touch another one today. It's in Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's go to work.
I got one yesterday at the wedding. Some guy walked up to me. Hey, do you want to do the podcast?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You went to a wedding yesterday too?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
Dustin and Priscilla.
So,
they got married.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something. My first husband proposed to me on Valentine's Day. Second husband, we got married on Valentine's Day. I'm not doing anything else on Valentine's Day.
Sweetheart.
No.
That's funny.
I'm all done.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, thank you.
So, baby, we got full cameras going on, and everybody's got great lighting except for you.
Oh.
I can't.
What's wrong with her lighting?
I cannot figure out what is going on with her.
She is a little gray.
She is so bright.
Yeah.
I can't get. I don't know. But you know what? I am so happy that we got 4 cameras going today that I'm just going to leave it alone because everybody knows how beautiful you are. So it's okay.
Oh, that's true.
It is.
Katie,
So okay.
you are
So
gorgeous.
do they just bounce at random?
I don't know.
You got to click it.
No, I'm clicking it. That's why I said yesterday. Oh God, let's see. That's why I said yesterday. Now we're in a position to where I have to have somebody come on here and
Well,
do
hey,
this.
Trigger's sober now. 2 weeks sober.
Let's get him a little bit of time.
No,
give him a little bit of time.
Get that motherfucker into service.
No, well,
right?
So here's the other thing: is where this is sitting at. How am I going to get somebody else in here? I got to reconfigure it. What's going on over here? It is ready to go. I do have plenty going on here. Is Katie's just got to give up the workout room?
Yeah, that's what he's getting at, Katie.
If you-
what's going to happen here?
If you know old Trigger is sober for 2 weeks and you really know him, that's something. But if he's sober 2 weeks and you don't really know him and you're like, oh, he's sober 2 weeks and this is his work, like, do you want him in your house doing
Oh,
stuff?
we've known him. We've known him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
We know him.
And he's retired.
Okay.
We talked about it. And he was with us at the Saturday morning meeting.
Right. He's been doing this. This is what he
give
did.
You come over and give you some pointers anyway,
Right.
until Katie gives up the room.
Right.
Sorry.
This is what he's been doing. He's done this for a long time, what he did before he retired. And so, I mean, it's just, and listen, it doesn't take much. I mean, everything's pretty well set. I just need somebody to control the cameras to go back and forth because, I mean,
Well, just give me a little trick, a little thing over here. Click.
I'm trying to just stay on top of it as I go along the way. And if you guys look at that and it's you talking and it's still on Katie, point at the damn point.
That's better than me.
What?
I'll talk and then point at her. You get more views that way than the fucking other way.
That's funny. Well, welcome back, everybody. I am Larry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Rob Thomas, I'm a recovered alcoholic.
You can reach out. You can reach us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.
You hear that what I said?
recoveryunfilteredpodcast@gmail. What?
I'm waiting for some. I can now, those listeners, that drives people nuts. When you
What?
hear people say, oh, I'm so-and-so and I'm a recovered alcoholic, which is true. That's what the book says.
Right.
But you'll draw some ire from people by saying that.
Saying what?
Recovered alcoholic, yeah.
I don't know what I am anymore.
You're a pain-free alcoholic.
I am pain-free.
Pain
you know
fucking
what?
free.
And I've actually really been very cautious about who I tell that to. So thanks. Now that I put it all over the place, right? So yeah, I mean, I was coming home the other day from Salinas, and all day over there, drove over there, and was coming home, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I really want to say anything to anybody because I don't want to jinx this, but damn, I feel good. And it was so funny as my brain for so long has been dealing with a pain in my body that my brain was looking for it,
Mhm.
right? And
Oh, yeah,
it
I know
was
what you
going
mean.
through, I mean,
We
it
talked
was
about
just,
that.
yeah, it was just going through system checks all throughout my body. And I just like, my brain was like, where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? And it's not there. It's gone. There's really nothing there. Am I sore? Yes, I am sore. I am still working through some weakness and some soreness, but other than that, the pain that I was having since
This fishing trip coming up is going to be great with all the boys. You walk.
right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the first time since I've gotten sober that I haven't had pain, and it's
You just are one.
I
That's
am
all it
one.
is now.
I trust me. I'd much rather me be a pain than have pain.
Oh, I
So
imagine.
I'd rather make
So who's our
everybody
guest
else's.
today?
Well, she's already been talking. Miss Concetta's back with us.
Hi.
Hold on. There we go. See,
Hi.
I'm horrible about this camera.
That's all right.
Right. But you know what? We are getting better at it. I am getting better at it, and we're going to get somebody on this thing. Before we get going too hard, and we brought Concetta back for a couple reasons, and
we're going to get into some
state what that is. I want to reach out to a couple people, and the other thing is my grandson's getting ready to wrestle for a championship. So if you see me distracted over here in a little bit, that's what it is. But I have gotten horrible about checking my my emails and all the other stuff. So when I went back and tried to catch up, I had a couple people that I owe a couple apologies for. And there was a guy by the name of AJ Amends, right? There was a guy by the name of AJ that reached out to us back on January 9th. And
that's a gentleman overseas?
No, this is
first responder.
He's actually in Salt Lake City, right? Then there was another one by the name of David who reached out to me, and I've reached out back to them, and I am hoping, why am I having such a hard time finding them now? And so we're going back and forth with them. The AJ who's in Salt Lake City, I actually had Jim reach out to him.
The first responder.
That's who I had Jim reach out to and talk to. And then there was another lady that she hit me up on Instagram, and her name is Barbara, and she is a friend. I better make sure I'm saying that correctly. But she reached out to me a while back, and she reached out, and crap. See, this is what I get. That's Becky. Becky Smiley Buzzard was her name.
You're shitting me.
No.
Becky, that's a tongue twister.
That's a $5 handle right there.
That is what.
So what you talking about David John or John David John?
Yeah, David John was one of them, and then AJ was another one, and then Becky was another one, and then there was a guy that earlier that I was late on whose name was Alex, and I've reached out to all of them now. The one that was concerning to me was the emails that I forwarded to you and Jim, that he was the first responder, right? And I missed that one, and he was struggling.
Son
right?
of a bitch.
He was struggling. So I reached out to those guys. So here's the thing. If I don't get back to you guys right away, and I promise that I will start watching these a little closer. I mean, once again, I don't mean going back poor me bullshit, but last 3 or 4 months, I've been going through a lot of shit, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm getting better and better at following up on my Instagram and all that other stuff. What?
Because you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy named David John. I have his 2 first names.
Right.
But I like what he says, Concetta. I would like to say I'm a Christian. I have self-identified as this my whole life, even though I got instantly fully addicted and obsessed with drugs and alcohol at 16. And he goes on to say why he likes us. I stumbled upon your podcast, and as someone who has been countless AA meetings, 5 rehabs, that has yet to really have a real shot at doing the steps, I find something so helpful and refreshing in listening to other Christians that are not straight-laced and don't have the language all clean and polished. Well, that's us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Here's.
Well, I'll never be pukey pure. I'm sorry. But I'm working. Jesus is working on me.
Katie and I had this discussion the other day. She was like, because I was talking about, I think I read her that one right there. She says, you guys got to be more careful and more professional in the way you talk. You know what, baby? You're exactly right. Right? I mean, we've gotten way better.
Way better.
We have gotten way better.
Way better than, the F.
That one F podcast.
The F podcast was not a fun one. But you know what?
Putting your best foot forward.
No, correct. And you know what? And yes, this is going to reach different people for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness that he appreciated that you guys aren't, straight laced and you're not polished, because you're not polished. But in some cases, you could be a little bit more polished.
Right. You're right.
We try. We really try. But you know what? When it's just Rob and I sitting in here and it's just the 2 of us.
Yes.
But that son of a gun likes to get me riled up.
I love to get him riled up.
And then that doesn't mean my language can't be more on par. But however,
he likes to poke the Portuguese.
Yeah, he does.
You know what? He's
not the porcupine, but the Portuguese.
He's so easy to get riled up too. Yeah. So easy. Here's we go. Here's Becky. Here's Becky Smiley. Hey guys, Becky Smiley Buzzard here. Yipper, that's my real name, right? Because she wanted some business cards, but I was like, I don't have business cards. I had a bunch of new stickers made. I had my stickers that are right here. That go on the back of my phone. We have them that size. They're 4 inches. She goes, hope you're healing quickly, Larry. Rob, keep working on that national bodybuilding championship, but don't send me any pictures.
I love her.
And then, you know what? I included her at Jim, and I was talking to Jim. He's like, she's a ball buster.
Now,
I'm like,
where's she from?
She's from Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, just outside of Colorado, right there in. Her and Jim go to the same meetings.
Okay.
So, and anyway, so they got quite the following. I really would like to get out there. Our podcast has really. We got a little cult up there in Colorado.
Let's go.
So, I mean, I'd love to go up there and visit all those guys this summer. It'd be fun. I'm not going in the wintertime, though. I don't do snow.
No.
I don't do snow. I don't do it. You know how I do snow? I do it behind the glass, sitting by a fire. That's how I do snow.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. So, yeah, that is. And here's the other thing. I just got a bunch of those stickers done, right? They're that small. They're 4-inch. If you guys reach out to us.
That's genetic, buddy. Sorry.
What? You're 4 inches? That's all right.
I'm 5'8" with my boots on. You measured it. That's confirmed.
Hey, if you want one of those stickers, if you reach out to us through the email or through Instagram or through Facebook, and you guys tell us how long you've been listening to us and your favorite show or something else you guys would like us to cover, reach out to us.
Critique.
Yeah, no shit. I like to be told I'm stupid and to shut up. I don't really care, right? I don't really care. But if you guys reach out that way, I'll send you guys one of those stickers because I really like to get some of those out there. I went round and round with those stickers and finally found one that I really like. And that's the one I'm going to keep with.
What are you reading?
So we brought, when Concetta was here last time, Miss Concetta, we're so happy to, you know what, first off, how's everything been?
Everything's been great.
Yeah.
Everything's been great. I mean, I've got, life stuff like everyone else.
Sure.
Family things, losing animals, just a lot of things that have happened. It seemed like in 2026.
Right.
I was like, what's going on?
Lot going on there.
However, like I'm still clean and sober. I'm still, working with others. I'm still supporting,
No
going
triggers.
to church. No, I'm still supporting my family. Like, there's certain things that are always going to be a consistent in my life.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what life throws at me. And I'm just grateful that I get to be able to be here with you guys. Like, I love you guys. I love being able to communicate with you guys on a daily basis.
I love the damn prayers I get every morning.
Oh, you know what?
That's how I start my day now. That's how I start my morning.
You know what? She, and I said this last time on a podcast, we missed like 2 or 3 days. And I'm like, hey, you okay? Right?
Yeah. He wasn't really concerned for her. I want my fucking prayers.
Right. I don't know what you're doing, but get those prayers back out here. Yeah. Well, I've been sick. Well, I don't care. Get those prayers. That was
he
fun.
He did pray for you when you said you were sick, though.
Oh, it's so nice.
And your dad's not doing well.
Yeah, my dad's 91, and he has been, he is definitely our patriarch of our family. And, he struggles with a lot of different things, and the man has never not gone to work. This has been the longest he's been out of work, and it's been.
And that's gonna be the hardest.
It is. It really is. I took him to work the other day. I said, I'm going to drive you to work because Larry knows where it is compared to town. It's like 45 minutes out, So for him to be driving at 91 is a feat in itself. But then you add all these complications, and then you're on a ton of medications. And I'm like, I'm just trying to reason with him. And, I realize where my manipulation has always come from. And I'm like, holy shit, man.
We're good.
Oh, it's both of them. It's between both my parents. It's like, I'm a master manipulator because of you all. I am telling you right now.
Go back to her podcast.
I learned from the best.
Listen to that, the rug story and how still impressed.
No, I'm just like, I see.
Entrepreneur.
Yes, I was a very big entrepreneur, but I could see like the patterns, you really do see the patterns. And he's like, I'm not going to ever let somebody drive me on. You think I want my employees seeing me pull up with some driver? How weak that is. And I said, you fell in the front of the office. Like, isn't that enough? He was out there screaming like he needed one of those little call buttons. I've fallen and I can't get up. Yeah, no, he was saying help. He was out there for 5 minutes by himself, poor guy.
But by God, don't drive me to work.
No, and then he went in and he let these men bandage him. They had no peroxide. My son-in-law poured alcohol on my father, who has such thin skin.
Beer?
No,
Oh.
no, like alcohol,
Oh.
straight alcohol,
Rubbing
and
alcohol.
literally rubbing alcohol, and then wrap some weird thing. I go, you guys don't even have a kit out
First
there,
aid kit?
first aid kit, nothing.
funny.
Like, and then he stayed out there until 2:30. It happened at 10:30. He wasn't in the urgent care until 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You know, it was fun.
Let's go to work.
But who made him go to the urgent care?
I mean, I'm going to
'Cause
show you when we're done with this, like all this, he was roadkill, like on his arms. I mean,
He's
it was,
lucky he didn't like break a hip or something.
I said, you are so fortunate. And so I'm sitting there and he's looking at the people in the back and he goes, oh, you're all here. So it was me and my two sisters and my mom. And he goes, we're missing one to the lady, like my other sister. And I'm like, yeah. I said, Dad, I just don't really think it's appropriate for you to be driving. Like, you know, you're on all these medications. Like, you don't know. And he's like, you know, yeah. I'm just like,
What was so fun when I stopped to visit those guys, I come walking up the stairs and her dad's huge office is right here on the right hand side. But the son-in-law who runs things kind of sits over here. So I walked upstairs and I saw her dad was dead asleep, just like this.
Yep.
Just like this at his desk. Big old desk and newspapers and everything.
he gets away from his wife.
Oh
He's
my
like, oh my God, she's
That
not
was
bothering
so
me.
funny. Then when I was talking to the son-in-law, I go, look, like to meet. He's like, okay. We walk into the office, and he walks up to the desk and kind of taps the desk. And he wakes up. It was fun. I had a great conversation with him. I did not go into all your details though. I really wanted to, but I was like, nah.
Oh my God. It was so funny because I drove him out to work. So after he fell, like he wanted to go out to work the next day. In fact, we were sitting at the emergency care and he's telling my mom that he's going to go to the club to play cards after this, like after he's wrapped up. Right. We're just like, yeah, I don't think so. Like you're going to go home, like, you know. And so he basically, I'm taking him to work the following week and we're driving and we have 45 minutes together. And I'm thinking to myself, do I start telling him the last time you drove me was to the courthouse for getting arraigned in Malibu? You picked me up from the treatment center in
that's
Oxnard to take me to the arraignment in Malibu over the rugs. Like I was like this close. I'm this close for mentioning it. No, I don't want to bring it up. No, he's probably forgotten it now.
Oh, hell no.
Oh.
Hell
I
no.
don't think that man's forgotten the first dollar he made.
Oh my God. It was so funny. My friend just sent me my first, because my AA birthday is March 3rd. And so he
That's
sent
coming.
me,
Write that down.
I know. So 19th is, March 3rd is my 19th year. And so a friend of mine sent me a thing and said, you're an effing miracle in this card, you know? And he's got a year more than me. And so I showed that to my dad the other day and he's like, that's pretty great. And I was like, yeah, that's friggin' great, man. I haven't needed an attorney in 19 years, Dad. Like, isn't that amazing? Like, I have not gotten arrested in 19 years.
But think about that.
That is awesome.
You are
That is a high bar.
That's what you have to boast on. Hey, I haven't needed an attorney for 19 years.
That's so funny.
They go listen to the story.
That's funny. Yeah, you know what? If you're listening, you haven't heard Concetta's
You got
story,
it.
you
That's-
need to go back.
yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
was by far the only one that I decided to split up in half on that one. We talked about that. We did our 2025 wrap up show that, you know, I split the very first one with Jason Allen. Then I never split another one until Concetta's. Like I said, we got it in about 2.5 hours. I'm like, I can't split this
Well,
one up.
there was really nothing to cut
Well,
out because it was.
There was nothing to cut out.
You were
But
just-
I think
you-
I have said for a long time. I think we only touched
No,
on some of your stories.
no. Like
Yeah.
it was so crazy. After I listened to it, I'm like, oh my God, I had like 10 more years in me. You know, I mean, I was like, how the heck did I do that much material? And, you know, you critique yourself and you're like, geez,
Right.
you know, what the heck am I?
Mm.
But it is my story.
Oh,
My ex-husband's sponsor came to town and he came and spoke at an AA meeting and he was the main speaker and he stood up and he was like, yeah, he goes, you know, I'm just going to tell you right now that I have a lot of drugs in my story. And if that bothers you, I'm sorry. It's the only story I have. What do you want me to do? Make up shit, you know? And it's like, I started laughing because I was like,
That's
I
it.
mean, it is his story. And he goes, and if Bill Wilson and Bob were around today, trust me, there was drugs in their story back then.
sure.
So they would have been on
Oh, yeah.
everything. You mean to tell me Bill Wilson wouldn't be sitting around going, oh, here's an ecstasy pill. And somebody's like, here, Bill, take this ecstasy pill to make yourself feel better.
They tried,
Didn't Dr.
Psychedelics.
Bob,
He did.
psychedelic, Bill did,
Yep.
psychedelics.
Yeah.
Dr. Bob also talked about using sedatives.
Sedatives.
Yeah, sedatives.
Exactly. He said, so
Right.
there is
Drinking both
drugs
of them.
throughout this whole,
yeah.
throughout this whole book, whether they like it or not.
Right.
And this is my story. And
It's part of
again,
mine.
that's my story as well. You know, it's
Methamphetamines.
Well, well,
you and I, Portuguese and Italian.
I think
Like we needed it, but
my honest opinion, and if I would have probably thought about it, it'd probably been in mine too, but it was just never anything that I went running after. But I mean, once again, anyways, so I brought Concetta back because if you remember right, when she was here, one of the topics that she talked about, one of the things that she was very adamant about and very, very much involved with is the recovery centers and a lot of the fraud that goes on inside of the corruption that happens inside of that. And I never really thought about it, quite honestly, until Concetta came on and we started talking about it. And I went back and did some reading and found that there is an extreme amount of fraud. I started getting not involved, but I had a guy out of Texas start reaching out to me. He does a podcast as well. We got to talking quite a bit, and he's got a recovery center as well. And I'm like, so we started talking. I was asking him about the same thing, and I think you've spoken to
I
Matt.
have,
Yeah, I've
Matt.
spoken to Matt, and it's just
Okay,
baffling to me.
I have a question because I have no shit about it. Just knowing the state we live in, would there be more in this state? Because they throw a lot of money. You know, there's a lot of money that comes from government.
Oh, yeah.
You know, at recovery.
Right.
Is there more in this state than any other because of the money that gets thrown at this problem?
Well, yes, it is. You know, Florida, Texas, and California are the three like epicenters for recovery. You know, like drug and alcohol recovery. A lot of the treatment centers. There's a lot more per capita in California, Texas, and Florida. And Florida back in the day, if you remembered, I don't know if you guys even knew at that time, there was a lot of pill mills that were set up in Florida. And so they had a lot of people dying. And it's that whole Percocet and when Oxycontin came out, it was that company, that pharmaceutical company that was basically labeling Oxycontin as the best pain management. Right. And so they got all these people hook on it. In fact, there's a documentary.
Like candy, right? That was like candy.
There is a documentary. If you guys get a chance, go look it up. If you search in I think Netflix documentaries and go.
It's Painkiller, I think. Is the name of it?
Yes.
It's call.
It's a very interesting, and you'll see how much. So you see the corruption between the docs.
Yes.
In that documentary, and that's just like a lot. There's a lot that goes on, and it translates. You know, what do you get when you sober up a horse thief?
A sober horse thief.
Okay, so now you imagine that everybody that works, a lot of the people that own treatment centers and recovery centers and sober living homes and detox centers are people that are reinventing themselves because now they're in recovery. And then you take a percentage of those people that actually don't even do the work in recovery. They don't do the work in Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. They're just now sober, right? And now you give them an industry that makes a lot of money, and people are throwing resources at it, a ton of money at it. And you have these people interwoven in this industry. This industry is disgusting. I mean, listen, it's an industry that I love. I have a love-hate relationship with it because of the fact that I have seen so much corruption, and I've been not only, my family, when I went into recovery, got taken advantage of as well. But I've seen so many families that have resources and money that have spent, a a couple of $1 million on their loved ones to not have anything happen differently.
Crazy.
Wow.
And so when you're seeing this kind of money, people are attracted to that, right? The sober horse thief is definitely
Still a horse thief.
attracted. No,
Right.
they're definitely attracted to it. And now you've got this stuff that's interwoven in our industry, and it's just like any other. It's like the healthcare that you know so well. Healthcare industry, it's a similar beast of like, okay, it's not. And what I'm going to say is, listen, anything that I say to you guys, I don't want it to sound so judgy and judgmental. It's just facts. Okay.
Sure.
It's a
Sure.
factual
Yeah.
thing. I'm not trying to say I am high and mighty and so above everyone else. But when I took a step back from the industry that I worked in for so long, and even while I was involved in it, I was seeing all this stuff that would like make my skin crawl. And I would just like go, oh, that just doesn't feel good. And in AA, when we're not working a program in AA, we can start having that same effect. Like little things start to, oh, you know what? I have to be cash register honest. Oh, well, I don't have to be, well, I'll just a little lie here, a
So
little lie. There's
justify,
a breakdown.
rationalize, and minimize.
Of course, it's all of that stuff. And so what happens is people in our industry do the same thing. They sit there and rationalize, minimize. I'm helping them. I'm doing this. They'll start making up the stories, create a storyline that allows them to be sick in not only their recovery, they weaponize AA or recovery tools to sound a certain way. They're well read and they're smart because we're manipulators as hell. Like,
Oh,
I mean, come on, talk about all the, do you ever watch those, what are those shows? It was like, I can hear the music of it. And it's like, where there's fraud going on and the people are like, they like stolen all these people's money and it's Ponzi schemes.
You're talking about
What's that show?
God bless it.
Oh my God. I
It's-
used to love that show.
We've watched it. We watched all the series of it.
Call my
It's-
wife. She'll tell you.
Yeah.
I know exactly. I'll
You
think
know
of
what
it.
I'm talking
Yes,
about.
yes, because
And
a
it's
guy
like-
I used to hang out with was on the show.
Yeah.
You
You're-
remember what I'm talking about now?
Yes.
Yes.
Something. Oh my gosh. Why can I? Oh my God.
It's right at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You know
it's
what?
gonna
We're all
come
the
to
same
us.
age,
Yes.
basically,
Right.
and we're all having the you
Yeah.
can't remember shit syndrome. So anyway, that bugs the hell out of me when I can't remember things. But yes, it's one of those shows where it highlights the people that are scamming the people, And so what happens in our industry is you have normies, call them normies,
Right.
that have never been in recovery and see that recovery field is a huge moneymaker. And then they get into business with people that are in recovery, and because they can like, this is my face. This is the face of the
Legitimizes the.
Right, exactly. But a lot of them are actually like the people that aren't in recovery are either therapists, psychiatrists. And again, in that field too, there's all sorts of different people, right? You've got people that are honest. You got people that are in it for the money. You have people that it's just so many things. And these families, when they're looking for treatment centers to go to, it's this massive beast to navigate through. And everybody is using their algorithm and they're getting this marketing person and that marketing person. And it's all clothed, clothed in like, recovery, we're the best and we do holistic work and we treat the underlying causes and we do everything from, pain management. Like, they all say the same thing. We do mental health treatment because what happens is the insurance companies. So if you're an insurance-based treatment center and what you do is you rely on the insurance money, what do insurance companies do? They don't want to pay out. So they figure out a way to not pay. And so it now causes and creates this system where now the treatment center owners are having to figure out how to navigate around that to get paid.
And they have.
Like it starts out being like rationalizing the situation. Okay, we have to figure out a way. We all got to get together. We all have to create a and band together as treatment centers, and we need to figure out how to navigate this insurance nightmare, because they're not paying us for drug and alcohol treatment anymore. They're only paying us for mental health. So now we're going to clothe ourselves in a mental health treatment center and say we do mental health.
Change the language.
Change the language, but nothing's changed. And so but they're getting paid 90% better by being a mental health facility versus a drug and alcohol treatment facility, but they do not bring along the specialists and the people that can treat the people with the mental health problems. Now everybody's doing it.
When I was looking, I was doing some reading on this and doing it, that they require, state of California, from what I was reading, only requires one certified drug and alcohol for every, I want to say it was every eight. It
might be 12. It might be 8 to 12.
So I thought it was 8.
Counselor.
Right. Yeah. Certified drug and alcohol counselor for every 8
patients.
But that doesn't mean that you can have some minions underneath you doing the counseling.
You do.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have these minions. Right.
Doing the hours.
Right. And that's, to me, is what's the frustrating part, is when I was reading that, and this is probably going way off topic, but when I went on and just went drug and alcohol, California, right? Recovery centers. So ChatGPT is amazing. It brought up the first 5 or 6 is Laguna, some big place over in Santa Clara, all these big, beautiful places. And it doesn't rank. Nothing ranks, has any kind of ranking of success rates.
Okay, but
there's
they're paying for that.
Okay.
They're paying for that.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this, though, Concetta. How would you even find that metric? I can make up my own fucking success rate.
And I think that's what I'm.
Where's that metric found?
And I think that's what I'm trying to get to as a drug and alcohol. If Katie needs to get her husband, me, into, let's go back to April 10th of 2022, and Katie's looking for something. She jumps on the internet. First thing she pulls up is a drug and alcohol recovery center, and it was a Malibu one and one over in Santa Clara. And it's a big old beautiful log cabin with all kinds of stuff. And it's beautiful, right? Doesn't say anything in there about the success rate. It talks about all the yoga that they do. And it's talking about all the extracurricular stuff they were doing.
Right.
I'm going to tell you right now, Maynard, you didn't do shit but study about drugs and alcohol.
Right.
You didn't. 8 to 10 hours a day.
Well, and I think that's why you guys are such a great advocate. First of all, it worked in your life.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
It worked in your life. Like, I went to Passages Malibu. It worked in my life. I was the only person that stayed sober out of my class.
Wow.
Okay, I remember those commercials. You're cured. That's a cure, though.
Well,
they
yes.
cure you there.
The reason I chose it was, and I think I shared with you guys, the reason I chose it is my parents basically said, we're all going to Hawaii to the Grand Wailea for Christmas, and you're not invited.
Right.
If you want to choose one more recovery center, choose wisely. It'll be your last one. And I had been to 6 others prior to that. So I was in Arizona, Syracuse, I was in all these different places. And so when I looked at Passages Malibu, I read through, and it was the first thing that I'd ever seen about holistic treatment, meaning because every time that I would go into a treatment center, they would diagnose me. They would basically say she's bipolar, she's this, she's that, she's mania, all these things. Now, when you're a drug addict like I was and had so many other things going on, meaning my eating disorder, I was a drug addict, I had gambling, I had all these things. My brain appears to be like I'm bipolar. It appears like I am
You were a
completely
Heinz 57.
I am completely a whack job, right? I have no emotional regulation whatsoever. And Passages was the first place that said, we are going to take you off everything. We want to see you completely as you are.
In your natural state.
In your natural state. We're going to get you detoxed, and we're not medication adverse. But we are not going to start throwing medications at you. And that was the first time somebody ever said. And so they were new to something like that. That was like, now that's very common where people will do that. But they were a very different approach. And they also talked to me about getting down to causes and conditions, which no one,
64.
which no one had ever spoken to me before. Every treatment center I was in before that was diagnosing me, throwing big books at me, telling me to read the first 164 pages. Now, when you're coming off drugs and alcohol,
what's the point of that?
I can't read
I don't need
or
to fuck
comprehend.
I mean, you don't need to read.
I can't read and comprehend anyway. I told you I had a learning disability. But now you're telling me to digest this book when my brain is scrambled. Like, how am I supposed to do that? And I've got 30 days. And so everything's in a fast-paced spin cycle.
Because they got to get you in and out.
Because they got to get you in and out. You know, people, 28 days. It was 28 days in those days. 28 days. Oh, got to be 28 days.
We had 28 days. Open that bed for another person then.
Exactly. And so the first week.
But on the other side of that, unless they're shallow, then they try to get the insurance company to keep you there 60 to 90 days, right?
Well, nowadays, but in those days, the insurance companies weren't even, when I first started going to treatment, they were not paying. It was all cash pay. I mean, there might have been some that were, but the ones I was
15 years ago, there was it. But see, now I'm in a union. Right. Fantastic. They'll pay 3 times.
Wow.
3 times. I only
you still got a couple left
the
in
military.
you.
You're
Go
talking
try
military.
it again.
No, just the union. Can I say it?
Yeah.
Local 3 operating engineers.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, that some of my guys.
You got 2 left. Go try it again.
I'm good. I'm good, man.
Just one.
Yeah.
But see, I mean, hearing this just breaks my heart because where we went.
Oh, yes.
What was hard pipe hitting. You're the problem.
Right.
You know, they were just, let's get down to causes and conditions, you know.
Yeah. So they talked about causes and conditions. So that was another, because I knew at that point my parents meant it when they said this was your last time. I was clear. I knew how many more times I could do something with my folks. And when they said it, it was very different in their language, the way they spoke to me.
Dad or mom?
It was mom.
Okay.
Dad was kind of done. This was mom. When mom gets
Mercedes,
done,
the second Mercedes, he was done with you.
Yeah, when I drove that car off the cliff,
when
that
you had
was
that car painted and she brought it back. That's like a child.
It was. Oh my god. Yeah. So when I drove the second car off the cliff, though, that was it. He didn't talk to me for a year after that. It was like done.
You know what's funny? Better about that. Hold on.
Go ahead.
When I walked into his office, he's got a plaque sitting on his desk. It's a big Mercedes. Obviously, he's bought a few Mercedes because he's in the club over there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, in the recovery centers, when you follow the money, where does it go? Where does it lead?
Well, to the top.
I mean, to the owner's pocket.
Into the owner's pocket.
You're right.
So like I talked to you before. So you have psychiatrists. Some of the psychiatrists own it. You have some people that are therapists that are owners. You have, and they're like, and like I said, we just want to help people. You have people that are in recovery that are opening them. And what you also have nowadays, which has really changed in the last, I would say probably 7 years, is private equity companies are coming in and they're buying.
That's where I was going next.
And they're buying these mom and pop shops that were in it for the right reasons, that are like, we're retiring, we're done, we're selling off. Like, we built up a very nice business model, and they come in there and they chop it down and they take all the great things that were being done and they get rid of the staff because their staff is overpaid because they've been there forever, and they're like starting to take all the staff out that's been like the 20 years. They've got 20 years, they've been there for 20 years and they've got like 30 years of recovery and they're in it for the right reasons. And we want to be, saving, not saving people, but creating this environment where people can heal and do all this good work. And now you've got these private equity companies that it's a part of their portfolio, and they don't really give a shit about this piece of their of what they own. Like, it's usually hospitals, it's all these different things. This is just something else to add in, and they're a bunch of DICKS.
Dicks is what she spelled. She spelled dicks.
Cocksuckers.
And they are
Robert.
My bad.
And it's all about the bottom line. And we are going to reduce it down to crap. And they've got all these Yahoo kids that have come out that are marketing wizards, that are newly sober horse thieves. Right. And they are like schmoozing. And it is the biggest, clickiest, crappiest, gross, disgusting. I don't know how many more adjectives and verbs I could come up with, but it is gross.
So in your study, when you were pulling things up, Larry, does it say what you have to have on staff? Because you don't
That's it.
necessarily
What I
have
said.
a medical provider on staff.
That's
they can
all you
have
had to-
someone who they partner with for
No, the
medications
doctor,
if
the
needed.
doctors that are involved. So a lot of the psychiatrists that are there, they're contractors.
Mhm.
So you have medical team, you have the medical staff that is all contractors. So they'll come in and you'll either have a nurse practitioner underneath them. The doctor's writing the scripts for the Ativan or whatever the detox meds are, right? So because they have a practice somewhere else, you know, that they're making more money. It's like the treatment center will say, hey, we're going to pay you $200,000 for the year. You know,
just to be
the medical director.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
Just
to
to be the medical
just to say
director.
we've got one.
You can still go do your private practice somewhere else, but we need you to come into the center twice a week or once a week, or depending on what it is, depending on what the center is. So that's kind of how that lays out. And then they'll bring in nurse practitioners, or they'll bring in, you know, that'll distribute meds for the, in the detox units or whatever that looks like. They'll bring in KDACs, which are either people that are getting their chemically dependent counseling services. You know, they're either going in and they're getting a KDAC 2, KDAC 3. There's different levels of KDACs that you can have. And then they have to do their hours. You know, they have to have so many hours. So they'll go in and they'll work for the treatment center. So the treatment center will bring them on at like, oh, you'll get $60 a group, you know, something so minimal.
But you get your hours.
You've got maybe 10 people in your group and you've got 3 groups a day, you know, and
for $60.
Yeah.
But you're getting your hours.
But you're getting your hours in.
Right.
But you're getting your hours in. So what happens is it creates a system where the people that are working in the system are like, damn, these people are raking in the cash and they're paying us crap. We're going to open up our own. Is my mic going in and out? Or
Well, yeah, you're okay.
Okay.
Sorry. I got you.
Because I can't. Okay.
No, I found out what was happening. I got you.
Okay.
Go
All
ahead.
right. Sounds good. So they're like, we're going to just open, like, why don't we band together and now we're going to go open up and we're going to do the same thing. And it's a learned behavior.
Now, what does that sound like?
I don't know. Tell me.
2 resentments and a pot of coffee.
Yes. Yeah.
Another meeting starts.
Exactly. And basically what happens is also then they create these marketing teams, these marketing people that come in and they're paid by the head, you know,
Like cattle.
yeah,
Yes,
it's like a
right.
cattle call. It is. It's disgusting. And then you have the sober livings that are sucking up to the treatment centers and they're like, getting referrals from the treatment centers, and when they get referrals from the treatment centers, they get a kickback to the treatment center. So the treatment center. So here's
Double
an
dipping.
example. Here's how I found this out, which was kind of like, you know, you get on this pink cloud when you're in recovery and you decide you're going to change your life around. And I was like, I'm in passages and I'm like doing everything they tell me to do. I'm like, I am doing 100% of what I want. And then I decide I know what I want to do. I want to open up my own recovery place because I now have all these tools. And, you know, to be honest with you, I was like, what else am I qualified to do? I literally had stolen, like I had so many. I was on probation in 4 counties. I'm like, what am I qualified to do?
You can teach people how to stay on probation.
No, I'm like, literally, I'm like, there's a limited things that I can do. And guess what? If I work in recovery, everybody else in recovery has cases too. So like, I'm okay, right?
You know, isn't it funny? I have spoke to so many people that the minute they get the guy I'm helping out over in Reno, and he'll probably listen to this. As soon as he started to get clean and sober a little bit, now he wants to go be a life coach. He wants to go help people. And it's not just him. It's so many people. When they get clean and sober, that's literally the first thing they want to do is they want to become
monetize.
which is
monetize.
amazing. Which is amazing, right? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with.
But I mean, get something under your belt first.
Well, yes.
You know what I mean? Not just a degree which I'm started classes, but get some recovery first. Because like Brandon wants to do.
Right.
How many men do I sponsor? Or have you been?
No, you've had a lot.
So when I retire in a year and a half, when I can retire, why not be a drug and alcohol counselor?
Yeah. I mean,
I do it anyway. I love doing it.
Right.
But I don't want to get involved in this shit.
Well, yeah, and it's.
I'm not saying they're all shit, but
no, they're not, and I don't mean to sound like that too. I'm just saying that there are good people involved in my industry. And that's kind of like what has inspired me to want to do this for families is I don't want to necessarily get assassinated and start calling out all the people that are doing the wrong things, but I want to highlight the people that are doing the right things. Does that make sense?
No, for sure.
And give people some tools on how to discern where to go and where not to.
Well, and I don't, and the difference between me and somebody that is like, okay, so let me tell you where this all kind of starts. So if you're a youth and you're an adolescent and you have issues, right? You're either using drugs and alcohol, they're adolescent programs, right? And so
you're fine. Right
okay.
there. Yeah.
So there are adolescent programs. Well, in the adolescent world, there are educational, therapeutic educational providers. And it's almost like, do you remember the scandal of the people that were trying to get their kids into college and they were
Yes.
It's like that. So these therapeutic educational consultants are being asked to find a program for my son or daughter so they can go to school in high school and live in this therapeutic boarding school, and it will attack their mental health, their substance use, and it starts there. You also, that's one of them. That's one of these like little groups of people. And they have conferences for the therapeutic professionals, because I've been to them, and they're all cliquey and they all provide, you're going to go to this program. Well, guess what? That program provides that educational provider with trips out to see their facility and we're gonna fly you out for the weekend, and we're gonna do, they're all, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what's wrong with it is when your perspective shifts because of what you're getting versus what's best for the kids, what's best for the student, what's best for that family, and it's clothed with what am I getting out of throwing this person in this facility. Like if all things equal and there's two facilities that do really great work and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to choose the one that I have the great relationship with. No problem with that. I have no problem. All things equal. But when you start fudging because of the things that you're getting out of it, now your ethics and your morals and everything else is crap. And so this is what we have. And we're dealing, this is like, when you're dealing in healthcare and mental health and substance use, it's different than Rob, like being an engineer and you're friends with another, like whatever. And they're like, we want Rob to do our engineering. You're not dealing with their mental health.
Right.
Well, it's
different.
It's actually illegal, right? Because my daughter and I were just talking the other day. My daughter, that's a nurse. We were just talking the other day. She goes out and visits and that kind of stuff. And she said something about, now, when I take clients or something out, I don't, but if they order a drink, an alcoholic drink, that's them, right? And I'll pay for it, right? It goes on the company tab and get reimbursed, so on and so forth. But Miranda was telling me, she's like, Dad, we can't do that. They can't do it in the medical field, right? In the medical field, they can't do that.
No alcohol.
No
alcohol.
Here's
they can do lunches, but they can't do any
Right.
alcohol.
Certain places, it depends if you are a publicly traded company or if you're a privately.
Right.
So my daughter
Gets
works
into
for
sticky.
Stryker, which is publicly traded. They can't do that. They can't send their dog. They can't gift their dog stuff. They can't do that. She has certain guidelines. But Arthrax, which is a competitor of hers, they can. They can send them on fishing trips. They can do all this stuff. So she's constantly having to compete in that field.
That's tough.
Really,
so
it's unfair.
It's an unfair playing field.
Yes.
And so
And look what they're doing. But what are they playing with?
people's lives.
Well, and your parents' heartstrings, right? You mean they can't control their child. They love their child. They'll do anything. And then you get all these promises, and it's just going to, we'll mortgage the house.
Well, like I said, and if all things are equal, say Arthrex, and it's not a crappy company. Mm-hmm. They have great product. But say Stryker has better, something better in the field to use. Those docs are going to use where they're being called to, right? Where I'm getting more kickbacks or I'm getting paid. Like I can be a paid consultant for them and I can get paid and I'm going to do that. Right. And so So now it's like, okay, am I putting the right product in the right person's body? Right? Well, am I putting the right client in the right facility? Right? And so what happens is you get these marketing people, like I said. So so the education consultants is one, right? In when you're over 18, you've got interventionists, right? And the interventionists, and I'll just throw it out there. There was an interventionist that was dealing with Matthew Perry, and I know him very well, and I'm not going to say your name, but you know exactly who you are. He was his interventionist and put him in treatment, and then after Perry got out of treatment, he basically leaned on him to go into business with him, and they had their own sober living home. And so they do this. It's disgusting crap.
What is an intervention? I mean, I know the word.
An interventionist
but what is his job title? What does he do?
So he basically isn't.
Who's he hired by?
He's hired by the treatment centers a lot of times, or the families.
And what's his job?
So his job is to get the person into treatment. To
kind
agree to go to
a
treatment.
babysitter?
You've seen Intervention, right? The show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like that.
Okay.
And families will call an interventionist and say, we have this problem with so and so. We need to get him into treatment. He won't go. We've asked him to go. So we need somebody else that can come in and set ground rules of what the situation is going to be. And it's, you know what? They do good work. There's a lot of interventionists that do good work. And then there's some people that don't do good work and screw the system up to where it gives you a bad taste in your mouth. And now you're just like, dude, I don't trust any of you.
So how do we discern, how does someone struggling with with themselves, child, family member, how do they discern
it's hard
the wheat from the chaff?
Well, it's hard because you're
how
looking
would you?
Online. Because
you're in the middle of it.
Well, because how I've worked in this field, and I know people that I trust, like emphatically, like when I call them, I know I'm going to get the skinny. I know I'm going to get the right information, like what's going on with this treatment center. Nope, don't do it. Don't send that person there. And
do you look at the curriculums or something, or do you when you say don't go there? Do you have something that you look at inside that curriculum?
It's not so much the curriculum; it's almost the people that are owning the
motivation.
Well, yeah, but let's say you're. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to go back to this. What if you're not in the field like you are? I mean,
that's what I was getting at. How does a person who's struggling with their child and they're looking at all this?
Well, like I said, I'm going to go back.
Why doesn't the state, and it's sad to say,
oh shit,
but why 30, 60, 90, 120 days once someone has graduated from a program, why aren't they coming back and following up? Like, where are they now? Are they still in a program?
See,
well, they're supposed to.
Maynard's did for 1 year.
They're supposed to.
I get a call.
They're supposed to, but here's what happens. So it's not necessarily their fault either. Like, because facilities will have alumni staff that will pick up a phone and they'll call the people, right? And if the people don't answer the phone, then they go into a system of like, oh, they're in the success rate, right? Which is bullshit. They fudge the numbers. They fudge the numbers. And so, like, when I went to Passages and we asked for there is no, I'm sorry, there is no numbers.
I know, but
it's not.
You can make up whatever you want.
You can make up whatever you want. You can say we have an 80% chance, and you could have 100% chance of that person if they follow everything we tell them to do. And if people are people, they're not going to do that.
You can't really put a success rate on somebody that you have no idea what they're going to do. I'm going to tell you right now, I could bullshit my way through just about anything. Of
course, we all can.
I can bullshit my way right through a program and go right out and drink the minute I leave there.
Most of them do.
Right. Most people do, yeah.
So being able to go by like customer reviews or anything like that, that to me would be the worst thing.
Okay, hold on now, Concetta. Let me ask you this. There's your metric. There's your when parents, anybody, when you're looking for a recovery place to send, if that's where you're going, if they tell you we have a blank percentage, success rate, I'd look somewhere else because that's bullshit.
They shouldn't be bragging.
That's a bullshit fact that you can't have.
For sure, they should not be bragging about.
I wouldn't say that's the be all end all, but there's a lot of those.
But here's the deal, you guys. I hear what you're saying. But families want to know that.
Oh, yes.
They will cling on to their desperate.
And that's why they say it.
Listen, Billy what is your success? I mean,
Right.
I'm calling so-and-so.
Right.
What is your success rate? Because we want our son to live.
Right.
Right? Oh, our success rate is 75. You know, I don't think I've ever heard of a program that doesn't report 75 or higher.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, what are you going to say? I'm 30%. No,
And
we're
here's the thing.
30%ers?
You know, the next question is not going to be, well, what do you come up with that percentage? The parents just saying, fantastic.
No.
Hey, I'm
And
sending
let's
my
think-
son.
Right, exactly. My son is going to be in that percentile.
Right.
And let's think about this. If I'm a concerned parent, right, my child is hurting, I call recovery A and I say, I needed, what is your recovery rate? And that person on the other side goes, I can't give you that recovery rate. It's going to depend on your child and how hard your child wants to work on things.
Yep.
And then you call recovery center B and they say, oh, we have an 85% chance of recovery. What do you think that concerned parent's going to do?
Exactly.
Going to be?
Yeah, they're going to go to B because they don't know. And that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
and that's where I feel an advocate, where we're trying to, what I feel like we are talking about right now.
Like an advocacy group.
Yes, it's not about it, you. Now, let me ask this question: is it okay for that parent to go and interview the facility before they send them there?
I would hope so.
Right. So, now is it feasible for a parent to go interview it before they got a child that's
yes.
clinging onto life.
Yep.
Is it feasible for that parent to go and interview that, or look underneath the hood?
You can, but they don't know what they're looking for.
They don't know what they're looking
Right.
at. They're looking at.
Right.
They don't
looking
know
for.
what they're looking for because guess what? In that treatment center, front and center are the, are the squeaky clean, the ones that,
For sure.
oh my gosh, this person, I came.
They would have Maynard's would have you call Rob and I because
Yeah.
we're the success rates.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And I used to go.
Well,
up
at
to
least me,
And I
not
used to
Rob.
go up to Passages when I graduated, and I would go to an alumni dinner, and I would sit and I would talk to the clients that
Right.
were there, and I would encourage them, and I'd say, look, I completely changed my life. Just dig in and do all the work that they ask you to do and everything. And I think that it doesn't matter what treatment center you go to
You're absolutely right.
if you're determined. But so many young people, if you take a person, I just had a friend of mine that called me about sending their 20-year-old. He got involved with some gangs, came from a really nice family. Like, I knew her from college, right? Called me up. What do we do? Son is arrested, right? Got some gun charge, 20 years old. Like, you just want to save your kid's life. You do not want this to be your life's,
Right.
And at some point I talked to, your son has never met me before in his life, right? And he's so defiant, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
So defiant.
Fuck you, you little prick.
Bravado, 20-year-old, came for money. I don't need it. I don't know who you are. I'm not getting on that phone with her. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm not even going to say the name. I'm just going to say, hey, man, I understand you don't know me, and I'm just here to help you. What do I need? He wanted to go to a place that was in LA. And I said, absolutely not. That place is a joke. No. And he's like, no, it sounded great to me. And I'm like, of course it did.
Yeah.
Fucking vacation.
I told her, you know what I told his parents? Send him out of state. He needs to be out of state, away from all of his playmates and friends. And here are some places out of states, Colorado or Utah, right? I gave him 2 different options. He chose the Utah one because the Colorado program was a little bit tougher, right? But they at least followed my direction and didn't fall into, we want him to go to the fluffy place, it's going to, with the, blah, blah,
The
blah.
85% success rate.
No. And you know what? I pray for them every single day, but it's up to the kid as well, right? Because my parents sent me to a lot of great places and I wasn't ready.
Right.
I absolutely wasn't ready. Nowadays, you have so much stuff that's out there. Now you have fentanyl. Now you have all these things. In my day, we had heroin. That was, I'm not saying that was bad. That was nothing, but it wasn't like fentanyl where people can do a speck of something and die. And so now you have these parents that are freaking just throwing everything at it. They're second mortgaging, third mortgaging their homes.
Crazy.
It is so sad. And that's what I'm so disappointed in. I'm so disappointed in my field. We have conferences, you guys. We have recovery conferences.
You told us about this from last podcast.
They are so gross. They've gotten so gross. It used to be where.
I'd love to. We got to go to one of those.
We can go.
Just bust their balls.
You used to go and therapists and would have to do continued. They have to earn units by continuing education, just like in the medical field. So you would get a lot of therapists and you would get a lot of really great people that were talking about the new modalities or new things that are going on in our industry. And so for me, it was great because I'm not educated in the field of, like, I have my CADE Act, but I am not a therapist. And so I would sit there and I would find it so fascinating. I would go and hear the newest and latest from the psychiatrist or whatever. Well, now it's gotten to the point where the treatment centers pay the psychiatrist to speak on their behalf of their treatment center. It's all this money trail. Like, you watch it. They're flying the psychiatrist out on their dime, and they're paying for the hotel, and they're paying for them to stay in Palm Springs for the weekend with their family. And they're going to come up and give a speech on behalf of my ABC treatment center. Yeah. And it's all of this stuff, you guys, and all the people that are there are marketers. And they're literally there.
Like pharmacy marketers?
No, kind of like pharmaceutical marketers, right. But it's drug and alcohol, like it's from drug and alcohol treatment centers that are sober people that are all tatted up, that are all of these cool people that when these young kids come to the treatment center, they're like, we want to be like Joey over there, who's tatted from head to toe, and he's so cool, and he looks just like
been sober for 20 years, and he opened this recovery.
Yeah, no, he's been sober for 4 years, or 3 years, or whatever it is.
Right.
And you know how many of those people have relapsed and died? Like within the last year, we lost probably 6 people that owned high-end treatment centers. Wow. And they were sick. They were sick inside their treatment centers.
Wow.
You know, here's one.
The difference between abstinence and recovery.
Right. Well, you know what? Here's the deal is you can't, if you're suffering and if you're, getting sick because you're using your treatment center as your recovery tool instead of your AA program or your sponsor or anything else, because I'm too busy. I'm running a recovery program.
Look at all the people I'm helping.
No, look at all the things I'm doing. Right. And you're silently suffering because you can't let that shit out because no one will refer to you. So it's this constant secrecy.
So you go back to your old medication.
Oh my God, no. So you're exactly. You are literally using in secret. Mm-hmm. Or you're doing other things in secret. I know so many people that are compulsive gamblers that are owning treatment centers. And you're like, what are you people doing? Why are we having recovery conferences in Vegas? There is nothing. First of all, we have sex addicts. We have drug addicts. We have alcoholics. We have compulsive gamblers. It's like Sin City for a
Vegas
reason.
Is
why
a
are we
breeding
in
ground
Vegas?
For that.
You know why they would host them in Vegas? Because the therapist and the psychiatrists that aren't in recovery, they wanted to be in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah. Here's one for you. I know you talked about this one. A federal jury convicted a California man this week for paying, this is September 13th, 2024, illegal kickbacks for patient referrals to his addiction treatment facility. You've talked about they're located in Orange County, California. According to court documents and evidence presented at a trial, Casey Mahoney, 48 of Los Angeles, paid nearly $2.9 million in illegal kickbacks to so-called body brokers.
That's what it is.
Body brokers.
Yeah.
So
it's like I said,
livestock.
The interventionists get paid by the treatment center to refer to their treatment
How much do they get paid?
$2.9 million.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good incentive.
Well,
I do have just a statement, and only our, Larry's story. I don't know about Rob, your insurance, but I know that we had to come up with quite a bit of cash ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted it the day that he showed up. They didn't want it, paid.
No, you pay up front.
We had to pay that day.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of money on top of what they were getting from our medical insurance as well. I don't understand how, some people have the ability to do this.
My insurance is paid.
By the way, a lot of people double dip too. So they get the insurance money and then they get you to pay.
We as a patient, we don't know if they got all the money from the insurance company, or if they just said, you know what, we're going to try and get this much from them. Because,
But you get the statement from your insurance. You get a copy of your explanation of
benefits.
Right.
I know my insurance paid them.
Explanation of review. You get that, so we could see what they paid well.
Right.
I don't know exactly I mean, it was a lot of money that we had to put out too, but it's disgusting to me that they are pilfering from the insurance companies and then bankrupting these families.
Well, yes. And there is a lot of okay, so like I said, there are reasons why fraud starts to begin with, right?
Greed.
Well, it starts with greed, a lot of it, but also it starts out of necessity. Sometimes people are so frustrated because the insurance companies aren't paying them, right? They're like, we're only going to pay you for 15 days. When you know that person needs to be in there for this many days, we're only going to pay you. So then they start like, okay, well, how am I going to, this person doesn't need 15 days. This person actually needs 3 months of treatment. But the insurance is only going to give us 15 days. So then they create a system of like, okay, it's a tear down. Okay, we'll get paid $15. We'll get paid for 5 days of detox. We'll get paid 5 days of detox. We'll get paid 15 days of residential. Then we're going to drop them down to IOP, where we'll get another set of dollars. It's every time it's lower cash, right? So up here is where the detox is, where the big money and the inpatient, right? The residential, and then it goes down to IOP, and then it goes down to OP. There's a reason why treatment centers has had to create this tier system, especially if they're trying to get insurance dollars. Okay. It's out of necessity. I understand why they do it, but then they take it too far. So then they start like, this is the reason why we're doing it, because we're getting screwed from the insurance companies. Right.
Right.
So then you have, like, for me, my parents never got to, the only time my parents ever got to use their insurance money is if I was 5150'd in a hospital setting, right? Right?
And how many times did that happen?
A lot. And, you try to kill yourself, they kind of throw you in there. But if I was in a hospital setting, the insurance money would cover it.
Right.
If I was in, or 5150, they would cover it. But, and when I had my eating disorder, my insurance dollars would cover it. But get this, even when I was in eating disorder hospital and I was suffering from bulimia, because my weight, my BMI was higher than the anorexic. The anorexic, they looked at them as being critical, and they would pay more. If your BMI is lower, you're going to increase those dollars are going to go up, and you're going to get longer term.
So if they can re-diagnose you as anorexic, they get more money. Of
course. Well, yeah, because here's the deal. Like, and I realized this because I went to work for that treatment center that I went through. The one, remember when I told you I drove the car off the cliff, and he goes, "Hey, Concetta, I heard you pulled the Thelma and Louise without the Louise." Remember when it died?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He would literally advocate for all of us, and he was arguing constantly with the insurance companies. And the only reason I really got privy to that is when I started working for him at that treatment center. I would hear him screaming on the things, telling him that the bulimics were just as sick as the anorexics. And it doesn't matter what their BMI levels are. They need to be in treatment, and they need the dollars, and they need to cut the coverage. And they would literally say no. And so they would get kicked out. They would have to relapse and come back in. And that's the reason why there's these revolving doors of treatment, is because the insurance runs out. Mm-hmm. They send them at home. The client relapse. They come back. I remember when I was at Sierra Tucson in Arizona, and I went there for my eating disorder and for compulsive gambling. This is like early on in the 90s. And I was like, all the famous people were there, and I was like, ooh, this is so much fun. Look at all these celebrities and blah, 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 and I'll say his name because he's not alive anymore, but Tom Sizemore was in there, and we were talking, and I was like, they were shooting heroin, and they were like, "You're in here for what?" And I'm like, "I'm here for my eating disorder and for gambling." And they're like, "Are you for real? Like, what? Really? You're in treatment because of that?" Like, and they're all shooting heroin, and they're dying, right, of heroin addiction. And I'm like, they're like, couldn't figure out like why I was in there, and then it made me think that, well, I don't belong here. Right. So I'm like telling myself, like, I don't belong here. I'm out of here soon.
You were not looking for similarities at that point.
No, I wasn't looking for similarities. But what I saw was there were so many people, In fact, Jimmy Stewart's daughter was in there, and she'd been in there 4 times. And I'm like, this is like a revolving, man, this is like a business model.
okay,
Holy
more of a
crap.
vacation than
now,
anything
hold on,
else.
correct me if I'm wrong, but in the 80s, when actually insurances started paying, when recovery centers started opening, Maynard's opened in the 79. Anyway, insurance was more willing to pay.
Right.
But then when people
Then
kept
they
coming,
stopped.
when they said, well, because you had such coming back, the revolving door, people
revolving
coming, people
doors.
not getting
Right.
sober, not getting clean. Well, why are we paying for this guy again?
Right.
Your system obviously doesn't work.
Right.
So then insurance companies started pulling back. So then they had to find new and improved ways to pull the money out of insurances.
Right.
But at first, insurance companies were just throwing money at recovery centers because
It was cheaper.
it was cheaper.
Right.
But now it's not cheaper.
And now they'll cover, so all the treatment centers, like we started off when we were talking about how the mental health, it pays to have a mental health treatment center. The insurance, the treatment centers realized, oh my God, we're not getting paid on being a drug and alcohol center. We're going to relabel ourselves mental health. We're going to call the state and tell them we want our mental health license, because now the insurance companies will pay for mental health. They'll pay for the schizophrenics. They'll pay for the psychosis. They'll pay for the, all these different
That are
other
brought on
issues.
by drug and alcohol.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
We'll pay for that.
Right.
Right. And we give longer lengths of stay. So out of necessity, I understand that treatment centers would do that and go that route. And I don't have a problem with that. But staff it that way. Be the best you can be. Don't label yourself, and that's what most of them have done, is labeled themselves and they brought in and there's things in our industry for everything. They'll bring in a lady that will basically write all the rules and regulations, all the policy and procedures, all the things, and she'll submit all the paperwork to the state because she knows what she's doing. I hired her, I know, because I opened up an IOP, and so I hired her too. And she writes all of the stuff so you don't have to spin your wheels getting it kicked back and forth,
So all the guidelines are met. Here you go.
Here you go.
The
Here
wheels
you go.
are
Here's
greased.
the whole document. It's about this thick. Then we get 3 months later, we get the visit from the state, and they walk through and they look through everything. Okay, well, you need, you need to get the fire department out here to sign off on this. You need to get all the things that they have to do in order to do that. And I get why people are doing it and wanting to be mental health, because they're not getting paid. A lot of them are going under because they cannot get paid from the insurance companies on drug and alcohol.
Sadly, I mean, working in the medical field myself, sadly, what we see is even a treatment that has been authorized, there's no guarantee of payment, and they will tell you exactly that. Authorization is not a guarantee of payment.
Yeah.
So they still have that ability to say, nah, we don't want to.
And that's why when treatment centers have realized it, and they're like, we need your check
Yeah.
too. We need a check when you're coming in with so-and-so. We need a check as well.
Yeah.
And because we are such drug and out people with addiction and substance use are so squirrely, and mental health, we're so squirrely, they can't be on the hook for, hey, we have saved a bed for your loved one for this many days. And now this guy wants to leave MIA. You are on the hook for 5 days of it or whatever, they should, but most of them will make you write a check for the full
They did us.
time. Yeah,
They did us.
exactly.
Yeah.
And my dad too. Like,
No, and I
my
get-
dad's
and I
like,
get that
I gotta
part.
write a check for this amount of money up front. Yeah, you do. You have to write a check. And so this is what happens with families. So little Johnny decides, because he's an entitled asshole, that he's going to jump on parents, and he's out of there. He's leaving. And so now parents not only have that money that they're trying to recoup from the treatment center, and it has to go through all treatment centers are full of crap too. They want to hold on. It's like banks. Like banks don't want to give you your money back. You know how long it takes for the IRS to. The IRS never gives you your money back if you overpay.
Yeah, no.
Ever pay?
You'll
right?
never see that shit.
No, you'll never see it again. Same thing with treatment centers. It takes forever. And now your son and daughter are back on the streets. They're drinking and using again. Now they have to go into another detox, and now you're writing another check for it. And it's like this constant, oh my God, I'm spending every dime I own.
Yeah, here's another one.
I mean, this is not to discourage people from sending your...
No.
No,
Hold on. We're gonna come all the way back around.
Yeah,
We're gonna come all the way back around. We're gonna come all the way back around here in just a minute, right? But this is another one, right? Rehab Riviera Addiction Treatment Empire faces criminal probe, a criminal investigation by a federal. This just happened. This was just December 3rd, 2025. Investigation. Federal grand jury is underway in a once sprawling addiction treatment empire, Nathan Young and Associates, according to documents filed by the federal court.
Concetta's nodding her head. She heard this.
And the feds want information dug up by insurance giant Aetna over the past 2 years. Aetna filed a $40 million civil suit against Young and Company in 2023, saying Young's sober living homes throughout Southern California were little more than drug dens that weaponized addiction for profit by cycling patients from one entity to another and encouraging relapse so the billing cycles could start anew. That
40 million, but that's probably pennies compared to what they really.
Here, read this one.
Here we go. Let's see. Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced that February 2018 jurors found Batham guilty of 31 counts, including forcible rape, good God, Larry, forcible rape, sexual penetration. And this is one we talked about when you were here last time.
Chris Batham.
Yeah. This is the one we talked about last time you were here. Yeah. So let me ask this question. Why? And I know this only because I want to move on past the kicking these guys around a little bit. But everything I was Googling, it's Orange County, LA area, Southern California is by far
cesspool.
It's worse. It's bad.
It's bad.
And all the Googling, unless the Google I'm looking at is only for California, right? But all of it that I was looking at there's like 3 or 4 of them that were all in California. And I saw one in Texas and maybe 1 or 2 that was in Florida.
Let me tell you what they do. They rebrand themselves. They open up, they get in trouble with the state.
Right.
They close down and they put somebody else's name at the top of it.
It's the same
thing. And they rebrand themselves. And this doctor, there was a doctor named Dr. Sharma.
Yeah.
He did it. It was called Sovereign Health. He did it like 5 times, this Indian doctor. And he ran mental health facilities, and to look at him, you're like, wow, this guy is so successful. What a scumbag. Let me tell you, what a scumbag. He was such a crook. And he did this over and over again. And
where was he from?
Well, he was Indian.
Okay.
Dr. Sharma.
But
he was in Orange
County.
He was Orange County.
Okay.
He was in San Diego, and he would get in trouble in LA, Orange County, closed down, rebrand, still in the background. He's still doing the same thing, putting another person forward as the face.
It's no different than a company file bankruptcy and open it up underneath another one. It happens all the time.
I get it, Larry, but this is mental health.
I trust me. I know. I know for sure.
And don't you think? I mean, it's sad because the state of California is not regulating these things better.
No,
and that's where we're also being failed.
They're getting paid too.
Yeah,
they're getting paid too. Do you know how much kickbacks are going? You think that
to the state representatives?
Yes, it's not just the interventionists. It's not just the therapists getting the referral fees. It's not just the marketers that are getting.
It's the congressman.
It's not just this. It's all of it. It's a system-wide problem, and that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, somebody like Maynard that you know and you can vouch for that is doing good work. Like, do you know that the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission, I'm just going to give them a plug. Rodrigo went there, my ex-husband. And I know another gentleman that went through there, my friend Ira. And Ira, yep. Ira's been sober for
good Jewish name.
Almost 20 years, yeah. And that program takes people from jail. They take them from jail. They give them a reduced sentence, like they can get out of jail early if they want to do this year-long program. They basically have to go to the Calvary Church, right? So it's a Christian-based program, hardcore. They do not take government money. It's all private donations. They get private donations from the county, from food, food being brought in. It's kind of like the Salvation Army and the Goodwill, like, is where these men are being clothed. They get all these donations and they get to go through and find clothes that is appropriate for them. But it is hardcore. It's a year-long program. And I'm telling you, the success rate
kind of like Teen Challenge.
Where is it at? Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It's at the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission.
Wow.
The people that have gone through there have all been through the program. So it's all the people.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong too, but there's guidelines, and if you don't meet them, you go back to prison.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Right. So, I mean, that's your incentive.
Right. No, that is your incentive.
Right.
And some
I
of
love
them,
it.
like Rodrigo, never was in jail. So it was hard for him because he's like, here's a lot of the people that come from there have a mentality, like a kind of a prison mentality.
Right.
You know, they've been in jail a lot. They've gone through the rinse and recycle and back out.
The
And so
rinse.
they're tough guys
Well,
or whatever.
it's true
And now
fact.
they have to live by these Christian principles. Right. And follow and go to Bible, you know, they basically change these people.
When the ones that want it,
The
do it.
ones that want it, do it.
That's right.
And
And the ones that
what-
don't,
and
go
that's-
back to prison.
No, exactly. And the people that work there, I love them. Like, I went through their family program because, you know, a good, solid program has everything. It's not just about the identified patient. It's about what is the family doing? Because there's a family breakdown somewhere. Like, all of us that have been through things, there's a family my family was enabling. Like, you know, there was control things. There was things that were going on in my own family that they didn't want to look at. And I had to step away from my family in order to get well. Right. You know, because I couldn't keep going back into a system that was looking at me as the problem and nobody changing anything. Right. We all have to work on ourselves. And so I had to take personal responsibility for myself and changing me. Right. It's not about pointing the finger at my parents or anyone else. It's about what did Concetta do and what was Concetta doing to create all this breakdown?
The fourth column in our inventory.
Yes.
What is your part?
Right.
You had to stop speaking victimese.
I had to stop speaking victimese, guys. And then, but also the people that I see, the people that I see that do extremely well in recovery are the people that also have the family that get into
support
work
system.
as well.
Yeah.
That understand, that are willing to like go, you know what? Let me do some work on myself. Like, you know, your children can go, oh, my dad was an alcoholic and all this stuff. And if they don't figure out that piece for them, like my daughter, like I always tell my daughter, like, Bianca, you got to do the work.
Right.
You can't just go to a therapist and vomit on a therapist and expect like this magic wand to come in. Right. It's like there's an Al-Anon program for a reason. And if you're not willing to go to Al-Anon, then you have to do the work somewhere. You can't escape doing personal work.
We don't lean on a shovel and pray for a hole.
No,
No.
and that
Start
goes
digging.
that goes for everybody, including the alcoholic, the drug addict,
Yeah.
the home, everybody, right?
Everything.
I mean, I saw, and I said this last time a couple episodes ago, where I actually watched Katie more recently start doing some of the same stuff that she's watched me do. I think you and Bonnie were on here together when I said that. I recently started watching Katie do AA stuff, and I'm like, she's learning watching me go through this same
Well,
shit.
But just like Rob, I mean, how many times has he said that, you know, he sees his kids implementing that in their life too.
Oh, big
and it's
time.
a problem solving,
All that AA stuff.
you know, I mean, it's how you get to the root of the problem a lot of
Absolutely.
the times, or how you come
Absolutely.
to a solution.
Right.
So it really is, I mean,
I can't
There's
look
some
at anything
great
any other way anymore.
steps
I
in
can't.
this.
Well, if you come from, it's environmental. It's you know, a whole break. Like if you look at people's like structure and they talk about their grandparents or their great grandparents or whatever, and you see all of that, how it all lays out, you're like, this is where it comes from, right?
Oh, yeah.
You may not have mental health or substance use, but you have a way of communicating in your family that is all of that stuff, whether it be people that are severely, racist, or you know what I mean? You can see it all, how it transpires, right? And how it breaks down. And so what happens when we go into recovery is you have to break that person down in order to build them up. You have to break the things off of that person that don't serve them anymore in order to bring light to it's the chisel effect, right? It's like chiseling away at that rock.
Or when God prunes us, you know, he talks about in the Bible,
Exactly.
the pruning of
It's painful.
It's not comfortable.
No, it's a very, very painful process. But if people aren't willing to do that, then there's not, you know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. The people that say, hey, you know what, we were just fine. It's it's this person in our family that is the problem. And this is the breakdown in our family because of this person. And it's like, no. Because before that person was that person, it behaved that way, there was stuff going on that you're not looking at. You know, it's like when I was talking to my mom and like, we were at I've always had a sugar addiction. I always had a sugar addiction.
What's your go-to?
Hot tamales, Jolly Ranchers, bubble gum.
My wife loves it. Yeah.
Oh my God, all that stuff. So
Not ice cream or nothing like that?
No, it was never like ice cream. First of all, lactose
Candy.
intolerance.
Okay.
Really bad.
Candy.
But yeah, I just like candy. And so my dad and we were in the airport one day, and it was at a private airport, and there was a bowl of like mints sitting on the desk, you know.
Did you eat them all?
No, my dad went and reached for him, and my mom goes, "That's where you get it from." Like points the finger, right? That's where you get it from. And I started laughing, and I was like, "Okay, Mom." I go, "Why do you think that you have 3 daughters that have alcohol issues?" Yet I have no idea. Like not like she
Complete
has,
denial.
No, she has no idea. She has no idea. Now, my mother doesn't have a drinking problem. She never smoked a cigarette, never did a drug in her life. So controlled in everything she does.
Regimented. In
That's
every
where it
aspect.
comes from.
Yeah.
Because your control breeds uncontrol.
Yeah.
Like how
You hold on to them so tight. Once they get a little bit of
my
freedom, we're
God.
gone.
My
We're gone.
goodness.
Yes.
My goodness.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So, maybe the failure of some of these treatment centers is because they do also have people who, one, aren't really educated enough to be in the positions in which they're in, but maybe they're not really healed themselves if they're
I think that's what she's getting at.
Yeah, sick people are, sick people hurt, hurt people, and sick people are sick, create other sick people.
2 or 3 years sober.
And they're more comfortable by like if you have somebody that owns a treatment center that isn't healed themselves, and now they're hiring other sick people behind them because they don't want anybody.
Just a breeding ground.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about like all these facilities that are so beautiful on the outside, right? They're so beautiful on the inside, and it's like a house of horrors in the inside, right? And it's
Just
sad.
like me.
Well, it's sad because it's like they have the capability of doing really good work, and there can be like 4 or 5 people in there that really want to do the good work.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have these higher ups that are basically browbeating them and telling them what they have to do, and the census is down, and we need census, and call that person and tell that interventionist we're gonna up it to $3,000 or $4,000 a bed.
Numbers are down.
Or what, yeah, exactly. And so
But
it's
they're
pushing
also,
this stuff.
potentially preying on people who are looking for, they can't go back to the life in which they had, or they've, blown up their career, or they don't have an education or whatever else. And so, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, be a life coach, or I want to be
myself.
a
Yep.
counselor
Yep.
in this, I'm going to live this way, but doesn't necessarily mean that they fixed all of their issues. Or,
No,
we've talked about
no.
multiple times how many people have not even gone through all of their steps.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living a sober life.
But they think because now I'm counseling, I'm helping these people, I'm
going
I'm in this-
working
yeah.
on myself because
Yeah.
if you're
But you're
helping
not.
other people, you're not helping yourself. I mean, let me rephrase that. You are helping yourself because you are getting out of yourself.
But if you think helping other people is your treatment,
right,
you're
thank
wrong.
you. Thank
No,
you.
It's not.
exactly.
Right.
Well, just by working in treatment shouldn't be a substitute for working in AA
Yeah, your
or a
own-
recovery program. You don't have to do AA.
Yeah,
If
your
it's
own
a Christian
program.
If it's Celebrate Recover, I mean, there's so many different offshoots now. Like,
Stop
listen,
it, Robert.
Just because we are AA people doesn't mean that
That's
there's
right,
not other
Concetta.
ways.
Preach it, baby.
There's not
Preach it
other
to him.
ways to recover.
Preach it to him.
I get it, Rob.
No,
I'm an AA person.
however you
But I
get
went
it,
to
I'm grateful.
Hey, I went to Passages and I got the cure.
That's
And you
awesome.
know what? And let me tell you something. Just because when I was in Passages and people would say they're going to go to an outside AA meeting, and I was like, why? We're in Passages. We don't have to go to AA.
Right.
And I was like, I learned very, very quickly, like AA is for fun and for free. And they do good work.
Right.
And I was scared of AA. And that's the reason. And I didn't want to do the work. It's a lot of work.
But you are going to find your people. I mean,
Eventually.
it may not be.
If you keep
like,
looking.
these men have a great Monday night group, and they add to it and they subtract from it, unfortunately. But they still have a great group of men. A solid
we
core.
don't subtract at all.
Those motherfuckers go drink themselves.
They subtract and fuck themselves.
They eject themselves.
But not many.
They
No.
have other alternatives, but you will find your people,
Yes.
even if it's not Monday night or going to.
Hey,
try
and
to
I
find
love to
purpose.
bust Larry's balls about NA or Celebrate Recovery, all that. You find it where you find it, and I don't care.
Right.
But I bet just when I went and did my own investigation, because I didn't find what I needed there.
No.
No, I was never an NA person. I just
Or Celebrate Recovery to be, and I'm a Christian, but that was just too watered down.
It's just
36 weeks to do.
to me, I needed the hard hitting banging of AA,
I did.
right? And the same thing I told the guy I'm helping over in Reno right now. He called me the other day. We were talking. He's like, "Well, I just can't find an AA meeting that I can get into." And I sent him several. I'm like, if you go into one you don't like it, don't be going back, right?
Yeah.
But then after he went to 3 or 4 of them, he's like, I'm like, well, if you've been to 3 or 4 and you can't, maybe you're the fucking problem, right? So maybe
More
you might
than
want to check
likely,
that.
you're
Maybe
the
you want to
fucking
check
problem.
that.
And there's people that aren't completely listen. There's a lack of transparency, intimacy, vulnerability, right? And so if you don't have those things that are going on, and you're not willing to open up, talk about it, and really be real,
Yes.
you need
No, because I want to hold that up for the next our next recording, right? That next recording, I want. Nice catch, Robert.
I'm good.
The next recording, because we're going to come back and
right
record.
now.
But I want to before we end the beating up on these recovery centers. I want you, Concetta, to
Hold
talk
on.
to
Transparency.
transparency, intimacy, vulnerability.
Thank you.
There you go, a dime holding up $1, stopping the whole show. I want you to talk to the parent, the husband, the wife, who is looking, the children that are looking for a treatment center. If they called you tomorrow and said, Concetta, give me some advice on what to look for,
Well,
what would you?
Okay, let me tell you something. First of all, I just want to be completely open and honest. If anybody wants my phone number, it's 310-363-2415. Call
Say
me
that again?
anytime. 310-363-2415. I'm happy to walk you through. It's just something that I love to do. I'm not going to charge you for it. You're not going to get
You're not
now,
going to get a kickback.
I'm not getting a kickback. I'm not going to, refer to you to my friends that have a recovery center. I'm not doing any of those things. I will actually ask a lot of questions. And that's what I did with my friends. Like, I was like, look, I'm not here to make the decisions for you. But I do want you to be educated enough to understand what it is. And I will recommend some people that have been doing this a very long time that I think run quality places, that it's, yes, they do need to make a profit because they are a business, but it's not money first.
Horrible.
Hey, you know what, Concetta? You're amazing. I'm gonna drag you back here.
I want to say one thing though, because you said we were talking about recovery centers, and you said, "Well, yeah, because we advocate for Maynards because we went there." Then you said, "Oh, yeah, because they'll have them call me and Rob." The reason Maynards, Shannon, will have them call us, and Larry goes up there and shares, because we tell them the truth. This is a great place to dry out. Yeah. This is a great place to get your foundation, but the work starts when you get out of here. And that's what we tell them. One of the truth.
That's one of the biggest
things. That's the only reason I advocate.
Yeah, I go up there every 5 weeks and speak. Every 5 weeks I go up there because it's a new group. And one of the biggest things I always tell those guys is have a plan. Yeah. And your plan is not.
And then they came up with a plan. Maynards came up with a plan. I had a big brother come up and pick me up. I went down to an AA meeting that Thursday. I got a sponsor that Thursday. Right. I did I followed my game plan that they asked.
Right.
And look at the results.
And my plan is, your plan should not be getting your wife back, your job back, your kids back, your car back. You're not getting anything back, because your plan needs to be how you're going to stay sober.
Exactly.
Because when you figure out how you're going to stay sober, the rest of that shit will take care of itself. Whether it's gone or whether it's there, God'll do it. Absolutely. But if your plan is to get sober and work real hard to get your wife back,
right?
She may have already ran off with the neighbor, and
I might have her
or to
by
get
now.
the court case off your back or whatever.
Right.
It is, right.
Wrong motive.
Nothing.
It's the motives behind it, and that's the
anyway. So I'm glad we went down this road with you, Concetta. Like I said, it was fun doing all this reading. that I've been doing. I mean, it was sickening, but it was fun to read some of it, because it's just, and I told Katie this a while back, this upstairs of this house, I can rent this out as a sober living house. I can make I can make $2,400 a month right here with the rooms upstairs, right? Because the doesn't require anything.
Nothing.
Doesn't require anything except a safe haven. Haven. Yep. That's it. I mean, and then, so anybody can run it, and that's not right. It's not. Right. And drug test them when they come back, and, do whatever the things, and you don't even have to. There's just nothing. Yeah. It's sad. Right? That whole thing is bad. But then again, it goes back to the person that's going into that sober living needs to take care of themselves more than they need. But
the main point is do your homework. I mean, as best you can. Reach out to.
Well, I got that. Remember how I started out with saying that my family was also taken, we also fell subject to getting taken advantage of.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And when I was at Passages, I got a really bad taste in my mouth, because when I was at Passages, my chemical dependency counselor, who I absolutely loved this woman. She had a lot of years sober. She had a sober home in Ojai. And I said, I want to go to her sober living home. Now, her husband was the one that was running the sober living home, who was not sober. He was absolutely drinking.
Does she know this? Does she know it?
Yeah. My dad goes, first of all, like you said, you could rent out these rooms.
Right.
So we go to Ojai, and my dad is paying $8,500 a month
for
a shithole. He goes, this is what $8,500 gets you. And it was we had a chef that was smoking meth. Did he share though?
Did he share?
No, this guy's in his car. I can see him smoking. This is what goes on. And she got referred. Because she worked at Passages, they referred, and she kicked back a fee to them from everybody
to go to her sober living house.
To go to her, yes. And this is how I was I was so disappointed. I was heartbroken.
$500 a month.
And that was in 2007.
Dude, that's a buttload of money.
Disgusting.
Yep.
So is there anything that you're wanting to do to try and bring, besides these conversations, to bring more light to this kind of a thing?
Well, yeah, I told you that I'm eventually, I've got a lot of stuff going on with my family and everything. Eventually, I'd like to start my own sober living, and I'd like to bring in professionals that are doing the right things for the right reasons.
Right.
I'll be retired a year and a half.
Yeah,
and
good.
I'll have my.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Fuck, are you going to do a retirement?
He's going to be chemical. He's going to be chemical. He said, I'd like to do that. No,
I do it now for free.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So here's the thing. I want to bring on those people. I want to highlight the treatment centers that are doing the good work.
That's what we do.
There you go.
Right. And so that's what I want to do. Right now, I'm doing it in a private, way when people call me. But eventually I will have a podcast that is not going to be funded by the treatment centers. Mm-hmm. They're not going to pay for ads. I will get it funded through the agriculture. I come from an agriculture family. I will get it funded through other means, but I'm not going to get it funded through anything touching me and an improprietary look.
This podcast is funded by FFS Studios, CFO Katie Shepard.
For fuck's sake, studio. Yeah. Thank you, Katie, for the funding.
I love that. Yeah.
So funny. We're going to come
donations.
Back. Katie. Yeah.
Leave your donations. Leave the roses at the door.
Thank you.
Funny.
You did.
All right, we'll be back.
To the Recovery Unfiltered podcast. We appreciate you being here today. If you'd like to reach out to us, please email us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast.com. We will do our best to answer all of your emails.